A box top. Yeah, I remember these. They're really popular in the 80s with stalkers.
God, what a fucking pile this thing is. Look at that rust hole.
Welcome. In the last episode of our Dank Pods flavored series, I gave you a brief tour of my new home on the road. Between the spouts of rain,
Fucking stop it!
mechanical issues,
It'll come eventually.
and the woes of cheap tools, I've accomplished much more to help tie everything together. And it has reached a point that I have deemed road trippable. For the uninitiated, this van is my new home after being kicked out of my bird-infested apartment. Here's a quick recap of all that has happened since.
There's absolutely no material left on this one. I mean, it is straight to metal, and there's hardly any metal left, so I'm glad I'm replacing these. But yeah, these are all fucked up. So, I gotta figure out how to get this bearing off of here because I don't have a press. Why? But it sounds like shit. This thing's bad. I got to playing with the exhaust gas recirculation, and
this thing is not connected to anything, and if you might notice, there's a little something missing. I don't know how I missed this for so long.
outside. Ugh.
Inside, it's a bit sticky.
Hunters, you will not fit in there. You will not fit in that spot. You are not a kitten. You're gonna bust your ass. It's gonna be funny. That's what I thought. You don't fit. You don't fit. You are a fully grown cat. It just got fucking rained on. It's leaking through the third brake light, and it was pulling up, and it just let go and just rained all the fuck over me. I stuffed some socks in there, but I'm not just trying to stop it, but I'm gonna have to pull that out now and figure out a way to seal that. God, I fucking love cheap shortcut bullshit.
Now that you have been caught up, allow me to introduce you to the current state of Le Van.
It's done! Well, close enough, at least. There's still no power and there's still no running water, but everything else is complete mechanically and living space-wise. When I first got this thing, it was such a massive pile of shit, I should have not have bought it, but now it's only somewhat of a piece of shit. I fully rebuilt the rear end, rebuilt the brakes, the engine is now running good with new spark plugs, new spark wires, new mass airflow sensor, new alternator, new belt, new pulleys, and new tensioner. I put some new tires on here that are absolutely trash. I would not recommend these Sure Drive highway tires. They ride like shit and are quite awful. Now this is as far as I can get with it before I have to leave back for Wyoming, so why don't I give you an updated tour of where the van is at right now. Now when I first bought this van, the doors only open from the outside on this side. This door you had to open with the cables in the door rather than the door handle itself. That has now been fixed. Now this door opens from the outside and the inside. Gotta be careful, there's a cat loose in here. And I can open this door, which is where I have my propane stored, which I need to turn off from last night. I also gotta make sure that this one here, I did close that, right? He's trying to escape. I won't let him. No. It's not that bad in there. No. Alright, fine. Since then, Nutters has moved in here, and he's very apprehensive about the van. When it's sitting still and we don't really move for a few hours, he's completely fine, but as soon as I start the motor or even grab my keys, he loses his mind. And he's been trying to escape out of here since then. So I need to come up with a better solution to keep him in here because he's an escape artist. He doesn't stay in the harness. Welcome to the inside of the van. It's changed a little bit. Also, I've changed locations. It's changed a bit since you last seen it. I've added on to the kitchenette and added my stove. This is a neat little thing. I think I got this for $190, $200, somewhere around there. 2-burner stove with an oven. Now I can't use the oven yet because it vents out the backside, and so I need to build a baffle that'll run through a hose like a dryer vent and out the door. But I can use the top burners without much issue. Now I don't have a vent in here yet, so usually I try to leave this door open when I'm using that. But I did cook with it last night with all the doors closed and just the window open, and it didn't really get that bad in here, but regardless, I do need a vent for it. The propane sits in this box here, and I need to seal this box and then vent it to the bottom. And the propane's actually just sitting in there unsecured, so I need to come up with a solution for that before I go on a big road trip. This should work fine as the sealed propane box. I am sitting in a chair. I found a chair that will actually fit in this space enough. And Nutters is in here, which you've already seen. As far as other things that I've changed go, I've actually put real shelves up rather than the cheap shelves that I got from the thrift store. These were a lot better. I got these at Dollar General. They hold a lot more spices. They can hold some shot glasses on the top. This I'm going to put just random junk that I find. I'll put my 3D printed Doom Isabel thing up there. And it is fixed in place. It's really not going anywhere. And I put some double-sided sticky tape on hers so that way she doesn't go anywhere. I can't go very far. I have my phone plugged in. But I've completed the kitchenette for the most part. The sink is still not hooked up and I still don't have a drain in the pan. But I'll probably take care of that once I get to Wyoming, because I'm going there for a little bit. But once I get there, I'll cut a hole for the drain and I'll run all the hoses for that. And then once I get power in, hi Nutters, I can put in the pump to run the sink. It's just going to be cold water both sides. So even though it's got a hot and cold tap, it's just going to be cold water because I don't feel like running a hot water tank in here. It's really pointless. I can just boil hot water if I need it. And this is pretty fixed in place. I mean, this isn't going anywhere. Surprisingly, like there's not much holding it in place, but it's pretty stout and sturdy. And underneath, I just have these blue jugs that I got from Walmart. They both hold 7 gallons. This is going to be clean water. This is going to be gray water. When I go to fill that up, this will get emptied out. Under here is where I'm going to put a 12-volt mini fridge that will slide out. But right now I just got a cooler and spare water and whatnot. I also have this space under here, which I really don't have much under there, but I'll probably keep cleaning supplies and such. And there is all my clothes. I got my plates and my bowls and my cups over there. The desk hasn't changed at all. I mean, it's filthy because the cat's been walking up and down it and laying on it and whatnot. But this works out perfectly. I built a shock box for the PC so that way if I hit a bump, it moves around a little bit and actually is cushioned a little bit. Now it does kind of slap the side of that, but I haven't had that issue. And I did put a vertical mount for the graphics card in so that way that wouldn't hurt the motherboard, hurt the slot for the graphics card or anything like that. Up here we have a nook that I built for Nutters, but he doesn't really use it. I put this burlap here that he can climb to get up there, but I've tried to get him to climb it. I've put some catnip and what on there. He just really doesn't do it. And I've put him up there for a little bit. He hangs out for 5-10 minutes and then he jumps down. But that being said, what I'll probably do is I'll probably make a little plexiglass door with holes in it and whatnot, and make this a space for him to stay when I got the door open, because he is a little escape artist and he does like to try to run out. I actually had him run out a few times now. I've tried putting him on a harness and having him tied up in here so he can still get his food, he can still get his water, but he can enjoy the door being open. But he just escapes because he's little tiny Houdini. I still don't have power currently right now. I just have a cord running in to power my PC and everything. But I've got these battery powered lights that do a pretty good job of lighting everything up. I've got one here, one there, and I got some puck lights that are going to go up. These I broke one of them off. These were on a switch, but because you have a constant signal between the two, the batteries ran out quick. So I think I'm going to take those down and just put some that are just touch to turn on. This is handy for about 5 seconds, and then, well, it killed them all within a day. Now I don't have another monitor yet, and I think I'm going to just get a normal TV that can mount there, because then I can flip it around and have it pointed towards the bed and just have a TV with Roku and whatnot on there and have its own audio output rather than having to set up speakers on the PC and whatnot, and then have to switch back and forth for the headphones. I have lived in here for a couple of days. I've been cooking in here. I've been sleeping in here, and just kind of bebopping around, kind of moving around different places and seeing how much I like it. And I will say, it is a very tight space. It's not bad, it's not unlivable, but it's kind of a pain to clean. It's kind of a pain to move around in here. And I kind of wish I had done things a little bit differently. Even though I'm too tall to have the bed sideways, having the bed like this is just way too much fucking space, and I don't want to fuck with it. I'd rather be able to stretch out. That being said, I kind of wish I did put a futon here that would fold up. And I'd probably just leave it folded out for the most of the time, but if I wanted the extra space, I could fold it up and have the extra space. That being said, this is too late now. The full kitchenette, I don't think was an absolute requirement. I think I could have made something a lot smaller and just put a cover over the sink and use that as my cooking space, but this kind of works out for now. It's, like I said, a very tight space in that area, and cleaning in there, and I can't find a rug that fits in there. Cleaning in there is just a pain. But having a desk space, not quite a full desk space, but a very workable desk space with a spot to put my drawing tablet and still have my keyboard and mouse and everything on this drawer here. Where'd my mouse go? That being said, I think this is going to be a temporary thing for at least a year at most. But I do want to upgrade to something bigger, like a little bus or an extended van or an ambulance or something like that with just a little bit more space, even just a little bit more length would be helpful. But I think a bus would be nice because then I could put my bed sideways and have a bigger bed and still have pretty much the same amount of room to work with. I could put a normal kitchenette in. I could put a normal desk in. I can maybe even fit a couch and have space left over to walk around and move and stand up, because I still can't stand up fully in here. Even though this is a high top, being 6'4", I still have to lean over, which is sort of annoying. And this entryway is very tight, and I wish it was just a little bit more wider. And sharing this space with the cat just takes away so much space that I would have had normally. So I think at some point I will upgrade to something bigger, because this works for now, but I want more space. I want it to be a little bit more livable. But we're gonna run with it. We're gonna run with it anyways, and we're gonna see how long it lasts. If I hate it, I can always upgrade later on down the road. Up here, first of all, it's a little bit cramped because I shoved a bunch of stuff up here. But up here, I haven't really changed much, except for this doghouse, which I regrettably painted black. I should have probably picked a different color because all of Nutter's cat hair and dust is showing up on this thing. But I pulled all the carpet off of this and painted it. And the reason why I pulled all the carpet off is this thing would not seal covered in carpet. And I'm not sure if it came like that from the factory or if it just degraded over time, but I could not get it to seal. Now that it is sealed, it is so much more quiet. Along with the fact that I fixed the pulleys and I changed the alternator out, changed the tensioner out, changed the belt out. And so now this thing is completely, somewhat quiet when I start it and drive it. I'll give you guys a demonstration of the most boring start you'll ever hear in your life. It's quiet. Now there is a sound coming from the smog pump, which, who cares? But it used to make all sorts of racket. The belt squeak was horrible. The sound of the pulleys completely shitting the bed was horrible. Now it is, for the most part, completely quiet. And going down the road, it's quiet. And when I first got this thing, between the belt squeak, the rattling, this box not being sealed, and the rear end being completely dead, driving this thing was completely unbearable. Now it's not bad. Now, like I said, the steering is got a lot of slop in it, but it's not my Bucky. The steering has got a lot of slop in it, but I mean, it's an old Ford, what can you do? But I mean, it's not a horrible driving experience. God, I'm really bad at real life videos. I'm gonna be leaving officially on the 22nd. That's gonna be the day that I leave. Now, I won't have power and I won't have water or anything like that. All I will have is, gas to power my stove, and that's about it. But I gotta do some work for my grandpa. He just had heart surgery, and I don't want him to be picking something up and then his heart pops out like the chest burster from Alien. So I'll be there for a little bit helping him out, and in that time I can put power up and I can get all the other amenities taken care of. It'll be a slow process, but I'll get there. And once I get power, I can start focusing back on the main things like making main videos, art, whatever it may be.
So it's going to be very slow for the next, I want to say about a month or two, while I get everything figured out and fully completed. I'll be still making like side content. I'll still be drawing a little bit. But until then, it's going to be very slow. So I am working on getting stickers sent out to patrons. It's been a little bit slower than I want because it's just a pain to get everything I'm one person, and getting everything organized and ready to ship out. I've got them packed up with me, and I may just work on them while I'm in Wyoming, get a P.O. box there and ship them from there. Because I'm not going to be here, and if any of them get sent back, I want them to be where I am, and I can take them and send them out to the correct address. So those will come eventually, I promise you. I haven't forgotten. I know I haven't really said much about those, but they are coming. But until then, that's about it. I'm horrible at IRL videos, so I don't know how to end this. Hey, Nutters. Say goodbye. Okay.